Section 85. Pulastya said, arriving next at the excellent Tirtha called Samvedya in the evening and touching its waters, one surely obtained knowledge, created a Tirtha in days of yore by Rama's energy. He that proceedeth to Lauhitya obtained the merit of giving away gold in abundance. Proceeding next to the river Karatoya and fasting there for 3 nights, a man acquireth the merit of the horse sacrifice. Even this is the injunction of the Creator himself. It hath been said by the wise, O king, that if a person goeth to the spot where the Ganga mingleth with the sea, he reapeth merit which is 10 times that of horse sacrifice. Crossing over to the opposite bank of the Ganga, he that batheth there having resided for 3 nights, he is, O king, cleansed from all his sins. One should next proceed to the Vaitarani, capable of destroying every sin. Arriving next at the Tirtha, named Viraja, one shineth like the moon, and sanctifying his race, rescueth it and is himself cleansed of all his sins. He that batheth in Viraja further reapeth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine, besides sanctifying his line, residing with purity at the confluence of the Sona and the Jyotirthi, and offering oblations of water to the gods and the Pitris. A man reapeth the merit of Agniostama sacrifice, touching next to the waters of the Vansa Gulma, constituting the sources of both the Sona and the Narmada. One obtaineth the merit of the horse sacrifice. Sojourning next to the Tirtha called Rishabha in Kosala, O Lord of men, and fasting there for 3 nights, one earneth the merit of the Vajapeya sacrifice, and of the gift of 1,000 kine, and also delivereth his race. Arriving at Kosala, a man should bathe in the Tirtha named Kala. By this one surely obtaineth the merit of giving away 110 bulls. By bathing in Pushpavati and fasting there, O king, for 3 nights one sanctifieth his own race, besides earning the merit of the gift of 1,000 kine. Then, O foremost of the Bharata race, by bathing in the Tirtha called Padarika, one obtaineth long life, and also goeth to heaven. Arriving next at Champa, and bathing in the Bhagirathi, and seeing Danda, one earneth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Then should one go to the sacred Leptika, graced by the presence of the pious. By so doing one reapeth the merit of the Vajapeya sacrifice, and also becometh regarded by the gods. Proceeding next to the mountain called Mahendra, inhabited of Hor by Jamadagna, and bathing in Rama's Tirtha, a person acquireth the merit of the horse sacrifice. Here is Matanga's Tirtha, called Kedara, O son of the Kuru race. Bathing in it, O foremost of the Kurus, a man obtaineth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Going to the mountain Sri, one who toucheth the waters of the stream that is there by worshipping there, the god having the bull for his mark, obtaineth the merit of the horse sacrifice. On the mountain Sri dwelt happily the effulgent Mahadeva with the goddess, as also Brahma with other gods. By bathing in the lake of Deva with purity and restrained mind, one obtaineth the merit of the horse sacrifice, and also attaineth to the highest success. Proceeding next to the mountain Rishabha in Pandya, worshipped by the gods, one obtains the merit of the Vajapeya sacrifice, and rejoices in heaven. One should next proceed to the river Kaveri, frequented by Apsaras. Bathing there, O monarch, one obtaineth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Touching next the waters of the Tirtha, called Kanya on the shores of the sea, one is cleansed from every sin, proceeding next to Gokarna, celebrated over the three worlds, and which is situated, O best of kings, in the midst of the deep and is reverenced by all the worlds, and where the gods headed by Brahma and Rishis, endued with wealth of asceticism, and spirits and yakshas and pisachas, and kinnaras and the great nagas, and siddhas and charanas, and gandharvas, and men and pannagas, and rivers, seas and mountains, worship the Lord of Uma. One should worship Isana, fasting there for 3 nights. By this one acquireth the merit of the horse sacrifice and the status of Ganapatya. By staying there for 12 nights, one's soul is cleansed of all sins. One should next proceed to the Tirtha, known as Gayatri, celebrated over the 3 worlds. Staying there for 3 nights, one acquireth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. A strange phenomenon is seen to occur there in respect to Brahmanas, O Lord of men. If a Brahmana, whether born of a Brahmani or any other woman, reciteth the Gayatri there, the recitation becomes rhythmic and musical, while, O king, a person who is not a Brahmana cannot adequately hymn it at all. Proceeding next to the inaccessible tank of Brahmana Rishi, Samvarta, one acquireth personal beauty and prosperity. Repairing next to Vana, he that offers oblations of water to the gods and the Pitris, obtains a car drawn by peacocks and cranes. Going next to the Godavari, ever frequented by the Siddhas, one earned the merit of the cow sacrifice, and goeth to the excellent region of Vasuki. Bathing next at the confluence of the Vena, one obtains the merit of the Vajapeya sacrifice. By a dip next at the confluence of Varada, one acquireth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Arriving next at Brahmasthuna, one that stayed there for 3 nights acquireth the merit of giving away 1,000 kine, and also ascendeth to heaven. Coming next to Usaplavana, with subdued soul and leading a brahmacharya mode of life, and staying there for 3 nights, he that batheth in it obtains the merit of the horse sacrifice. Bathing next at the romantic Devahrada, that is supplied by the waters of the Krishna Benna, and also in the Jatismara Hrada, one acquireth the memory of one's former life. It was there that the chief of the celestials celebrated 100 sacrifices and ascended to heaven. By a visit only to that spot, one acquireth the merit of Agnistoma sacrifice. Bathing next in the Sarvadeva Hrada, a person obtains the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Proceeding next to the highly sacred tank called Payoshni, that best of waters, he that offers oblations of water to the gods and the Pitris acquires the merit of the gift of 1,000 kine. Arriving next at the sacred forest of Dandaka, a person should bathe in the waters there. By this, O king, one at once obtains, O Bharata, the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Proceeding next to the asylum of Sarabanga and that of illustrious Sukha, one acquireth immunity from misfortune, besides sanctifying his race. Then should one proceed to Surparaka, where Jamadagni's son had formerly dwelt. Bathing in that Tirtha of Rama, one acquireth the merit of giving away gold in abundance. Bathing next in Sapta Gadavara, with the subdued sense and regulated diet, one earned the great merit, and goeth also to the region of the celestials. Proceeding next to Devaruda, with subdued sense and regulated diet, a man obtaineth the merit of the Devasatra sacrifice. One should proceed next to the forest of Thungaka, with subdued senses and leading a brahmacharya mode of life. It was here that in olden days Muni Saraswata taught the Vedas to the ascetics. when the Vedas had been lost in consequence of the Munis having forgotten them. Angirasa's son seated at ease at the upper garments of the Munis. Dule spread out, pronounced distinctly and with emphasis the syllable Om, and at this the ascetics again recollected all that they had learnt before. It was there that the rishis and the gods Varuna, Agni, Prajapati, Narayana also, called Hari, Mahadeva, and the illustrious grandsire of great splendor, appointed the resplendent Brigu to officiate at a sacrifice, gratifying Agni by libations of clarified butter, poured according to the ordinance. The illustrious Brigu once performed the Agnayadana sacrifice for all those rishis, after which both they and the gods went away to their respective homes, one after another. One who enters the forest of Tungaka is, O best of kings, male or female, cleansed of every sin. There in that Tirtha, O hero, one should reside for a month, with subdued senses and regulated diet. By this, O king, one ascendeth to the region of Brahma, and delivereth also his race. Arriving next at Medavika, one should offer oblations of water to the gods and the Pitris. By this one acquires the merit of the Agnistoma sacrifice and also memory and intellect. There in that Tirtha is the mountain known over the whole world and called Kalanjara. Bathing in the celestial lake that is there, one acquires the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Ye that, O king, after a bath, offereth oblations to the gods and the Pitris, and the Kalanjara mountain is without doubt regarded in heaven. Proceeding next, O monarch, to the river Mandakini, capable of destroying all sins, and which is on that best of mountains called Chitrakuta. He that batheth there and worships the gods and the Pitris obtains the merit of the horse sacrifice and attains to an exalted state. One should next, O virtuous one, proceed to the excellent Tirtha called Bhartristhana, where, O king, ever dwells the celestial generalissimo Kartikeya. By a journey only to that spot, a person, O foremost of kings, attained to success. Bathing next at the Tirtha called Koti, one earned the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Having walked round Koti, the merit of giving away 1,000 kine. Having walked round Koti, one should proceed next to Jestasthana. Beholding Mahadeva, who is there, one shineth like the moon. Then there, O mighty monarch, is a celebrated well, O bull of the Bharata race. There in that well, O foremost of warriors, are the 4 seas. He that batheth there, O foremost of kings, and with subdued soul, worships the gods and the Pitris. He is cleansed of all his sins and attaineth to an exalted state. Then, O mighty king, should one proceed to the great Shringaverapura, where, O foremost of kings, formerly Rama, Dasharatha's son, had crossed the Ganga. Bathing in that Tirtha one, O mighty armed one, is cleansed of all his sins. Bathing with subdued senses and leading a brahmacharya mode of life in the Ganga, one is cleansed of every sin and obtains also the merit of the Vajapeya sacrifice. One should next proceed to the place called Mayuravata, consecrated to Mahadeva of high intelligence. Beholding there the god, bowing down to him and walking round the spot, one acquireth, O Bharata, the Ganapatya status. Bathing in Ganga at that Tirtha, one is cleansed of all his sins. Then, O king, should one proceed to Prayaga, whose praises have been sung by Rishis, and where dwell the gods with Brahma at their head, the directions with their presiding deities, the Lokapalas, the Siddhas, the Pitris adored by the worlds, the great Rishis, Sanat Kumara and others, stainless Brahma Rishis, Angiras and others, the Nagas, the Suparnas, the Siddhas, the snakes, the rivers, the seas, the Gandharvas, the Hapsaras and the Lord Hari with Prajapati. There in that Tirtha are three fiery caverns between which the Ganga, that foremost of Tirthas, rolleth rapidly. There in that region also, the world purifying daughter of the sun, Yamuna, celebrated over the three worlds, uniteth with the Ganga. The country between the Ganga and the Yamuna is regarded as the Manas Sarovar of the world, and Prayaga as the foremost point of that region. The Tirthas, Prayaga, Pratisthana, Kamvala, Ashwattara, and Bhogavati are the sacrificial platforms of the Creator. There in those places, O foremost of warriors, the Vedas and the sacrifices in embodied forms, and the Rishis endued with wealth of asceticism, adore Brahma, and there the gods and rulers of territories also celebrate their sacrifices. The learned, however, say that all of these Tirthas, O exalted one, Prayaga is the most sacred, in fact the foremost of all Tirthas in the three worlds. By going to that Tirtha, by singing its praises, or by taking a little earth from it, one is cleansed from every sin. He that bathes in that confluence celebrated over the world acquires all the merits of the Rajasuya and the horse sacrifices. This sacrificial place is worshipped by the gods themselves. If a man giveth there ever so little, it increaseth, O Bharata, 1,000-fold. O child, let not the text of the Veda, nor the opinions of men dissuade thy mind from the desire of dying at Prayaga. O son of the Kuru race, the wise say that 600,010,000 Tirthas exist at Prayaga. Bathing in the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna, one obtains the merit that attaches to the four kinds of knowledge, and the merits also of those that are truthful. There at Prayaga is the excellent Tirtha of Vasuki, called Bhogavati. He that batheth in it obtaineth the merit of the horse sacrifice. There also in the Ganga is the Tirtha, famed over the three worlds, called Rama Prapatana, which confereth the merit of 10 horse sacrifices. O son of the Kuru race, wherever may a person bathe in the Ganga, he earneth merit equal to that of a trip to Kurukshetra. An exception, however, is made in favor of Kanakala, while the merit attaching to Prayaga is the greatest. Having committed 100 sins, he that batheth in the Ganga hath all his sins washed off by the waters thereof, even as fuel is consumed by fire. It hath been said that in the Satya Yuga all the Tirthas were sacred. In the Treta, Pushkara alone was such. In Dwapara, Kurukshetra, and in the Kali Yuga, the Ganga alone is sacred. In Pushkara, one should practice austerities. In Mahalaya, one should give away. In the Malaya mountains, one should ascend the funeral pyre, and the Brigutunga, one should renounce one's body by foregoing food. Bathing in Pushkara, in Kurukshetra, in the Ganga, and in the confluence of the Ganga and the Yamuna, one sanctified 7 generations of one's race up and down. He that reciteth the name of the Ganga is purified, while he that beholdeth her receiveth prosperity, while he that batheth in her and drinks of her waters sanctified 7 generations of his race up and down. As long, O king, as one's bones lie in contact with the waters of the Ganga, so long doth he live regarded in heaven, even as one liveth in heaven, in consequence of the merit he earned by pious pilgrimages to sacred Tirthas and holy spots. There is no Tirtha that is like unto the Ganga. There is no god like unto Keshava, and there is none superior to Brahmanas. This hath been said even by the grandsire. O great king, the region through which the Ganga flows should be regarded as a sacred asylum, and a spot of land that is on the Ganga's banks should be regarded as one of favorable to the attainment of the ascetic success. This truthful description of the Tirthas one should recite only unto the regenerate ones, unto those that are pious, unto one's son and friends and disciples and dependents. This narrative without a rival is blessed and holy, and leadeth to heaven, holy and entertaining and sanctifying. It is productive of merit and high worth, destructive of every sin. It is a mystery that the great rishis cherish with care. By reciting it in the midst of Brahmanas, one is cleansed of every sin and ascends to heaven. This description of Tirthas is auspicious and heaven-giving and sacred. Ever blessed as it is, it destroys one's enemies. Foremost of all accounts, it sharpens the intellect. By reading this narrative, the sonless obtain sons, the destitute obtain riches, the person of the royal order conquereth the whole earth, the Vaishya cometh by wealth, the Sudra obtaineth all his desires, and the Brahmana crosseth the ocean of the world, purifying himself. He that listens daily to the merits of different Tirthas recollects the incidents of many previous births and rejoices in heaven. Of the Tirthas that have been recited here, some are easily accessible, while others are difficult of access. But he that is inspired with the desire of beholding all Tirthas should visit them even in imagination, desirous of obtaining merit, the Vasus and the Sadyas, the Adityas, the Marutas, the Ashwins and the Rishis, equal unto celestials, all bathed in these Tirthas. Do thou also, O thou of the Kuru race, observing the ordinance as explained by me, visit with subdued senses these Tirthas, increasing by thy merit. O thou of excellent vows, men of pity and learning are able to visit these Tirthas by reason of their purified senses, their belief in Godhead, and their acquaintance with the Vedas. He that doth not observe vows, he that hath not his soul under control, he that is impure, he that is a thief, and he that is of crooked mind doth not, O Kauravya, bathe in Tirthas. Thou art ever observant of virtue and of pure character. By thou virtue, O virtuous one, thou hast always gratified thy father and thy grandfather and great-grandfathers, and the gods with Brahma at their head, and the rishis also. O thou versed in virtue, thou who resemblest Vasava, thou will, O Bhishma, attain to the region of the Vasus, and also eternal fame on earth. Narada continued, having cheerfully spoken thus, the illustrious Rishi Pulastya, well pleased bidding Bhishma farewell, disappeared there and then, and Bhishma also, O tiger among men, well understanding the true import of the Shastras, wandered over the world at the command of Pulastya. Thus, O thou blessed one, did Bhishma end at Prayaga his highly meritorious journey to the Tirthas, capable of destroying all sins. The man that ranges the earth in accordance with these injunctions obtains the highest fruit of 100 horse sacrifices and earns salvation hereafter. Thou will, O son of Pita, obtain merit consisting of the 8 attributes, even like that which Bhishma, the foremost of the Kurus, had obtained of yore. And as thou will lead these ascetics to those Tirthas, thy merit will be much greater. Those Tirthas are infested by Rakshasas, and no one save thyself, O son of Kuru, race can go there. Rising early, he that reciteth this narrative by the celestial rishis on the subject of the Tirthas becometh free from all sins. Those foremost of rishis, Valmiki and Kashyapa and Hatreya and Kundajatara and Vishwamitra and Gautama and Hasita and Devala and Markandeya and Kalava and Bharadvaja and Vasista and the Muni Udalaka and Saunaka with his son and Vyasa, that best of ascetics, and Durvasa, that foremost of Munis, and Javali of great austerities. All these illustrious rishis, endued with wealth of asceticism, are staying in expectation of thee. With these, O mighty king, do thou meet by visiting these tirthas, and O illustrious monarch, a great rishi of immeasurable energy, Lomasa by name, will come to thee. Do thou follow him and me, and by turns visit these tirthas. O thou virtuous one, by this thou will acquire great fame like King Mahabhisha, O tiger among kings, even as the virtuous Yayati and King Pururavas, those thou blaze forth with thy own virtue, like King Bhagiratha and the illustrious Rama, thus thou shine among kings, even as the sun himself. And thou art, O great king, celebrated in the world even as Muni, or Ikshvaku, or the highly famous Puru, or Vainya, and as in days of yore, the slayer of Vritra, after burning all his foes, ruled the three worlds, his mind freed from anxiety. So will thou rule thy subjects, after slaying all thy enemies. And O thou of ice like lotus leaves, having conquered the earth according to the customs of thy order, thou wilt obtain renown by thy virtue, even like Kartaviryaruna Vaisampayana continued, O great king, having comforted the monarch thus, the illustrious rishi Narada, bidding farewell to the king, disappeared there and then, and the virtuous Yudhishthira, reflecting upon the subject, began to recite unto the ascetics the merit attaching to tirthas. Thus endeth the 85th section in the Tirtha-yatra Parva of the Vana Parva.